piled up on the doorstep. That's basically Yog Towers. We have all of this fan mail just piled up in front of the house.
And there's a rusty old car in the front garden. And it's got like several things under the windscreen wipers, several like pamphlets and leaflets.
There's probably one of those dogs that lives in the car, uses it as a kennel. So it's probably got a door missing, for starters.
Yeah.
And the dog just sleeps in there. And people don't know. So when people like walk up to the house, to the front door to knock on the door, or deliver mail or a package or whatever, they don't realise there's a dog in the car. And every single time they walk by, the dog barks at them and they go falling backwards into a hedge. And wait, that's Hyacinth Bouquet out of that sitcom.
Oh goodness. Yes.
Did you ever watch that?
Is that
my God.
Keeping Up Appearances? It'll be on over Christmas.
Yes.
If you're in America, you're not going to be able to see that.
Her surname is spelled Bucket, but she is so, posh and upper class that she makes people pronounce it Bouquet, even though it's spelled Bucket.
So, Christmas, right? You're going off to your family, I'm going off to my family. I thought we could share a few Christmassy tales.
Well, Lewis, it was Christmas Eve. I was 9 years old. Me and Mum were decorating the tree, waiting for Dad to come home from work. A couple of hours went by. Dad wasn't home. So Mum called the office. No answer. Christmas Day came and went, still nothing. So the police began a search. 4 or 5 days went by. Neither one of us could eat or sleep. Everything was falling apart. It was snowing outside. The house was freezing, so I went to try and light up the fire. That's when I noticed the smell. The firemen came and broke through the chimney top, and me and Mom were expecting them to pull out a dead cat or a bird. And instead, they pulled out my father. He was dressed in a Santa Claus suit. He'd been climbing down the chimney, his arms loaded with presents. He was going to surprise us. He slipped and broke his neck. He died instantly. And that's how I found out there was no Santa Claus. Didn't really happen. That's a quote from the movie Gremlins that I've done there.
Gremlins?
Yeah, Gremlins. It's a brilliant movie. It's a very Christmassy movie.
It's probably
Lewis.
on over Christmas.
I like putting it on over Christmas, having a good laugh at all the japes. Maybe not that story so much. That's more of a darker part of the movie.
Let's just do a load of fan mail. So this one is from Garrett Littrop. He says, "Hello Yogscast. I was wondering if you could answer this scenario for me. Okay, you were taking a dump and fell inside the toilet, and then something happened where you died. What would you do?"
So there we go. That is why me and Lewis don't read the fan mail. This is why we have Hannah do it.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay, well, Thomas R. Blaster writes in. He says, "I have a question that you can answer. Today at school, I noticed during chemistry that O2 underscore 2 was oxygen, but O_3 is ozone. So I asked my teacher, if people keep winning on about gap in ozone layer, why don't they just convert oxygen into ozone and use it to fill gap?" There you go, Simon.
Well, there we go. That's we could solve all of the world's problems if we just asked uninformed people what we should do, because they clearly have all of the answers. There's a certain creativity that comes when your brain isn't tied down with anything like any form of knowledge or awareness of the world.
Yeah.
Oh, Christmas tree, this is the Christmas Yogurt.
I've heard of that podcast.
A Yognaut called Tyler Crompton has written in to say that not in a gay, homoerotic way or anything, but rather in a cool, bromantic way, Me and my brother have got tattoos of your Minecraft characters on our shoulders. My brother has Honeydew and I have Zephos, so yeah.
Do we have any photographic evidence to back up these wild claims?
We do, yes.
What? This can't be real. Mine's quite good. I like that.
It is on a beardy man.
Oh my god, that's his beard. Wow. Oh my god. And you have the, I'm guessing, younger brother.
I don't know why you would say that.
The one who drew the short straw. They're in the Air Force Academy.
Ah, Cadet 3rd Class, Tyler H. Crompton. This was sent a couple of months ago, so he might be like a captain by now. I don't know how quickly you go up the ranks. Captain Crompton.
Not that quick. How do you explain to the other... I mean, in the army, in the Air Force, the guys see each other, like, undressed all the time, right? I've seen Top Gun.
Okay.
And... So when you're playing volleyball, right, on the beach, how do you explain the tattoo? People go, what's that? What's a honeydew? And you're like... It's right, there's this English guy, and he voices a character in a series of video game machinimas based around this. There's this video game called MineCraft. There's a man named Notch in Sweden, and he made this. I mean, how do you explain all of that without sounding really, really weird?
And crazy. I don't know, I think more people would recognise it though, now. I mean, crikey. We've had so many people emailing us saying they've met random Yognauts all over the place. I mean, originally when we proposed this idea, it sounded ridiculous to us because I didn't think anyone would ever meet another Yognaut in the world, right? But now, it's actually happening.
We did think it was preposterous, didn't we?
Yeah.
We thought it was absolutely ridiculous that one person would meet another Yognaut and they would go, you know, I'm Dave Yognaut and all that. It just seemed so ridiculous and unlikely. We didn't believe any of the stories people were sending in. They're like, yeah, I met a Yognaut on the train, or, you know, on a bus, or on a plane, or in the car sitting next to me. It's my brother. Our parents were driving us to the zoo. But I didn't think this would happen, and it's happening all the time. It's scary.
Another good example is that Tina Barrett and Warwick Davis, we chose originally because they were very, like, not very that kind of D-list celebrities. People know who they are, but don't really, you know, they're not famous.
People in England.
Yeah.
I think this is quite specific. Yeah. People in England who are of a certain age would have known them, right? And I was somewhat aware that a lot of people who watched us were younger than that and in different countries, so it made it even more obscure. Yeah. And that's why I found it funny that the fact that Warwick Davis to me was, he's always been this big star to me, and I know that he's not even that famous, or he wasn't. His profile's gone up an awful lot now that, you know, he's in this sitcom and everything, but you know, I picked these obscure people. Tina Barrett, S Club 7, they split up, they stopped touring, and now S Club 7 have reformed. Tina's like been emailing us saying, "I love the Yogs cast. You're amazing. Yeah. We should have a drink sometime, Simon." And I'm like, "I'm too busy. I'm too busy making videos for kids on the internet. I can't meet you, Tina Barrett."
Exactly. I mean, it's insane. I wasn't paying attention then because I was looking at this thing that someone sent in. Apparently, on Life's Too Short, the new Warwick Davis thing that he's doing with Ricky Gervais, they're talking about like what you get when you Google Warwick Davis, and apparently, you know, one of the top results is he just dismisses in the show as a couple of prats. So I don't know if that's actually a reference to us.
Oh my god! Does he think we're prats? No, surely not.
We did meet him, didn't we? Remember?
We did meet him,
we were.
And well, I certainly was a bit of a prat.
Yeah.
Inadvertently, though, you can listen to that on what was it? YogPod 33A or something.
Ho 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
This one is from a tired dude 13. He says, believe it or not, but the Yogscast got me a date. There is a smart and beautiful girl who sits near me in class, but being socially awkward, I didn't know how to approach her. I was answering one of her questions in AP Chem when I muttered a reference to Simon's Diggy Diggy Hole song. She gave me the Yog salute and said, I am Dave Yognaut. And then, for the rest of the class, we talked about games, the Yogscast, and other nonsense. 10 weeks or so later, fast forward, and I have worked up the nerve to ask her to the winter formal ball. She accepted. So
The what?
it's like a formal
The
ball.
winter formal ball.
Yes, it's kind of like a.
Oh my god.
So there you go. Tell her thank you, Scotty, if that's your name, and fill us in on how that's going. That's nice, isn't that nice?
Yeah, if there's a wedding or any children, just let us know. Maybe you want to call the kids Simon and Lewis. Lewis, it can work as a girl's name as well as a boy's name, can't it?
This is an email from Jacob Williams. About 2 weeks ago, my dad suggested to me that I should enter a contest to win a $250 gas card. I'm not sure what that is. The contest was hosted by a local radio station, celebrating the grand opening of a brand new gas station right outside my house. Okay. When I arrived, I found that the contest, no joke, was to guess the weight of a cow that was tied to a pole at the gas station. I guess this is because the gas station features a store that is part of a large chain called High's Dairy Store. High's Dairy Store. Okay. So after a bit of clever thinking, I filled out a random guess and popped it in the slot. My guess was £763. I have no experience with cows and frankly didn't want to have any. I drove home without thinking about it, not expecting to win anything. He drove home? Oh, of course he drove home. It's right next door to his house in America, but he drove home. About 2 days later, an unknown number calls me on my cell phone. He said, hello, is this Jacob Williams? I said, yes. He said, did you know that you are an excellent cow weight guesser? He said, no. And he said, well, you are!
Oh my goodness.
You've won a $250 gas card. You could pick the card
Wow.
up tomorrow. So he won. So there you go, that's his story.
That's amazing.
He's attached a picture of the $250 gas card that he won. And there you go.
There's a bit of fan fiction that someone's been writing. And I've got sort of an excerpt. I shared it with Total Biscuit
Okay.
a few days ago, but I didn't sort of tell you about it.
Okay. You thought you'd save it for this. It's a good idea.
Yeah,
good idea. Good idea. Good idea, mate.
For a moment, Honeydew sat there staring at the spaceman. He couldn't begin to describe what he felt in that moment. Here he was, at the side of his best friend and most trusted companion, who he had pretty much abandoned during the stronghold. This was like a previous event in the story. Okay. Reassuring him that everything was fine and it wasn't his fault. In a sudden rush of relief, he caught Zephos in his arms, burying his face into the crook of his neck, forgetting about the tears he was supposed to be holding back. The spaceman slowly rested his own arms on his friend's broad shoulders, sighing lightly and sinking into his chest.
Ah, this is what happens on a sort of.
That beautiful moment.
It happens all the time, man. It happens all the time in real life. It's. There's nothing gay about it or anything. Nothing like.
No, 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 no.
Okay, here's a weird one. This is from Dan and Josh Compton. Greetings, Yogmasters. I was 11 years old and travelling to Menorca. Right? Now, he could mean Minorca or Majorca, one of the two islands. Yeah,
Right.
one of those two.
But he's combined both of those into this weird sort of
Menorca,
mashed up
which
word.
sounds like a
Right,
kind
okay.
of half man, half orca, kind of like a whale creature.
It's like a fucked up mermaid,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So anyway, this is a weird story, but it was my first time ever on a plane, and after about 5 minutes in flight, I began to feel sick. I held it in for as long as I could, but an hour later I could do so no longer.
Oh God.
I reached for one of the little sick bags in the back of the seat, but alas, it was too late. I vomited